Someone spins a wheel, it lands on a number. A second later, you're asked a question that has nothing to do with that number, and your answer moves anyway. You'd swear it didn't. It did. This is happening to you constantly. Every price tag, every negotiation, every estimate about what something is worth, and you almost never feel it. In 1974, two psychologists, Amos Tversky and Daniel Kahneman, ran an experiment that should have shown nothing. They put people in front of a wheel of fortune, numbers 0 to 100, and spun it. It was rigged to land only on 10 or 65, but the people didn't know that. Then they asked something unrelated. What percentage of African countries are in the United Nations? People who saw 10 guessed on average about 25%. People who saw 65 guessed about 45%, 20 points apart, because a random number had just appeared in front of them. That's the anchoring effect. The first number your mind encounters silently becomes the baseline, and you adjust away from it too little, always. And here's what matters. They watched the wheel spin themselves. They knew it was random. It worked anyway. 50 years of research says this happens to everyone, consistently. You feel like you're thinking independently. You're not. But anchoring doesn't stop at numbers that seem relevant. It works with numbers that are absurdly, transparently irrelevant. Dan Ariely showed people ordinary items, wine, chocolate, a keyboard, then asked them to first write the last two digits of their ID number, then bid. People whose ID numbers ended high in the 80s or 90s bid 2 to 3 times more than those whose numbers ended low. For one bottle of wine, the high group bid around $28, the low group under $9. Same bottle. Your ID number contains no information about the price of anything, yet it set the entire price level in their heads. Ariely called it coherent arbitrariness. Once a random anchor lands, all your later judgments line up sensibly relative to it. You'll still pay more for the rare wine than the cheap one, but the baseline was pulled out of thin air. Now the everyday payoff. This is why almost every price ends in 9. When you see $9.99, your mind anchors on the first digit, the 9, not the 10, so it doesn't register as a penny less than 10. It registers as the 9 world, not the 10 world. The gap feels like a whole unit. Research found prices ending in 9 raised sales by around 24% on average. One study showed a dress at $39 outsold the exact same dress at $34. Higher price, better sales, purely because of the digit. But here's the twist that should genuinely unsettle you. Expertise doesn't save you. Real estate agents were shown a house and given a listing price, then asked for their own appraisal. The values tracked the listing price, higher listing, higher appraisal, and afterward, the agents flatly denied the price had influenced them. They were confident they were wrong. And then the study that should change how you think about this. In 2006, Englich, Musweiler, and Strack studied experienced criminal judges. Before deciding a sentence, the judges rolled a pair of dice, rigged to land on 3 or 9. They knew the dice were random. Judges who rolled a 9 handed down sentences significantly longer than judges who rolled a 3. Same crime, same facts, a different number. Just before judgment, land the reversal. Trained professionals, years of experience, a person's freedom on the line, moved by dice they threw themselves. Anchoring is not a bias of the gullible. It's a feature of how every human mind estimates under uncertainty, and knowing about it barely dents it. Now the honest limits. This is real, one of the most robust findings in psychology, replicated for 50 years across pricing, salary negotiation, sentencing, real estate. But expertise does reduce it somewhat, not eliminate it. The judges still anchored. Experts just anchor less than novices, and why it happens is still debated. The classic story is anchor and adjust. You start at the anchor and adjust too little, while others argue for selective accessibility, where the anchor makes consistent information easier to recall. Both probably play a role, and like many classic findings, some studies faced scrutiny in the replication era, but the core effect holds. Arbitrary numbers move your judgments. You can't feel it, and awareness is a weak defense. Here's what matters for you. You move through a world saturated with numbers, placed there on purpose by people who understand this. The first price on the shelf, the original price crossed out next to the sale price, the suggested donation, the starting salary, the asking price, each one is an anchor, dropped before you've formed your own judgment, quietly reshaping what reasonable feels like without your permission. These numbers aren't there by accident. They're there because they work. You can't switch this off. Even now, knowing exactly how it works, you'll still feel $9.99 as cheaper than it is. You'll still see the crossed out price and feel like you're getting a deal. That's how deep this goes. But there's one small power in knowing. The next time a number appears before you've decided what something is worth, you can pause. For a second, ask a single question. Where did that number come from? Is it information about the thing or a suggestion about what I should think? Usually, it came from someone who wanted to move you, and sometimes, just sometimes, seeing the anchor for what it is loosens its grip, not to immunize you, but to give you a chance.